Alright, now I'm recording on the camera. Alright. Okay. Hey, it's me, Max from Saphron Squares. This is how I'm working now because of sciatica pain. I'm still gonna make a beat, I guess, just because I've set my mind to doing these videos. I think I'm gonna run through maybe like 10, 20 of these, compile them as one release. And I think I'm done. I don't think this is adding much to anything. I don't think anyone wants to see this. And I think I'm a lot happier just making music, you know, and then putting the music out. I don't really know what I'm doing with these videos, but hey, for the 0 people that want to see this,
you're welcome.
Hope you're happy. Making beats, let's go, woo! Yeah, right, so I did all the work on the beat and woke up this morning to realize that I had set the Edison recorder here to 30 minutes, meaning that most of the audio that I captured for the DAW and of myself talking, basically unusable. So I'm just gonna walk you through everything I did like this. I've reset, now I'm recording things differently, so in the future this shouldn't be a problem. So out of the gate, I started out with these chords here. Made them by just pressing on the keyboard, making their typing keyboard into a keyboard, as you can see up here, this feature. One second. Like that. So I came up with these basic chords, these like strumming piano chords. Then I took those chords and just transposed them down 2 steps in accordance with a minor chord. So it starts off here in, as far as I can tell, a G minor with a D playing under it. Just added a basic intro. Not really popping as much as I would like it to, but I was trying to make a beat as fast as possible. That's usually how I go about doing that. So we go from this. There's a few transitionary notes or whatever, bringing one chord to the other. You will hear that now. There you go. And then that can loop back to the beginning here. Usually I start with a pretty basic loop, add more melodic components, flesh that out. So that's our basic loop. Just gonna turn the delay bus off while I'm doing this, so it's not all jingly jangly. Here you have the intro. You can see I've moved it up 3 steps. From the D there to an F, and it goes E, and it goes back down to the D. Haha. And then ends off with the lowest chord. I'm not too excited about that intro, but it is what it is sometimes. After I usually start off writing in the most basic, like FL keys. You know, it doesn't sound very good if a melody is working out for me. Usually tell based on those sounds. On more complicated synths and stuff, dissonance has a tendency to sound a lot more appealing than it does on an FL keys grand piano. Change that to the Rhodes preset. No, I did not. I went to the actual preset and used the E piano. Thought that sounded nice. I know we can bring the delay bank back in. You kind of hear what I was going for a lot more. Oh shit, I forgot to make it more louder. This is gonna sound a lot like DJ Carnage as I'm doing this, so bear with me. Yeah, anyway, so this was kind of my starting point. Let's move back to the loop there. And I was going to, as you can see here, I have MIDI outs set up. So I was gonna send that to the Behringer JT 4000 Micro, just so I have some kind of a sound palette to pull from that's a bit more like, yes, an analog filter, a little bit more meaty, a little bit more hands-on controls than a lot of the Rompler style synths I use, and, you know, FM style soft synths like Dex. Anyway, with the 4-note polyphony, didn't really work out too well for me. I could, of course, easily make it work. The sustained notes would just be pulled back. You get a bit more of a pluck sound. Didn't like that. I wanted all of that vibrato, all of the sustained release or whatever to go into the delay pedal to sound a lot better. I didn't want it to sound all arpy and plinky plonky like it would on keys. So I got out the Analog Lab 5, I think it's called. Analog Lab V. V has awakened. Analog Lab intro. I don't know. I think this is some kind of I don't know if it's a proprietary Arturia synth. I think it came with a MIDI controller that I had, some kind of download key. And as you can see, like a Rompler, it has very basic settings. Doesn't even have an ASDR, which is a huge problem. But for sounds like this, it can create fairly true-to-life keys and strings and stuff as a Rompler. With, if you know, you manipulate the velocities and stuff, you can get it to sound a lot more good with some additional reverb to simulate the authentic reverb in a piano case or a guitar case or whatever. You can get really authentic sounds if you know what you're doing. I'm not going for that. That's very rarely what I'm doing. You can see there the velocity. I'm not doing shit. I could easily just, boom, get it to sound a lot better. But what I wanted was a more true-to-life, fleshed-out, authentic, a less generic set of Rhodes sounds. So it has a few little... there you have keys, that's just all kind of synth keys and stuff. The pianos here, basic, not really that nice, but alright sounding. I've used it for some things. Electric piano, got a few Rhodes. These are the sounds I went with for the main Rhodes section. Which I then later fed into the Korg Monotron to add more grit, more the ability to turn like an analog filter for the cutoff, makes it sound a lot more intense. It makes it sound a lot more authentic, a lot more like something that's coming off a record or a cassette. It's exactly what I'm going for. And then I went from that into adding the 808s. I ran through quite a few 808s. Started off with like a pretty distorted one. Just tuned the 808s like that. Later on in the process, I added a kick. Not tuned. It's just side chaining the 808. Let's demonstrate that quickly. So that's playing on a D, which isn't really the root note, but it is what I chose to be the root note of the... So that the chord is kind of playing on top of the root note that's not really in harmony here, as you can see. It's kind of playing off key. I don't know. Music theory, miss me with music theory. I don't care. Now, I can go through how I create chords and melodies. It's really easy. I could do it without hearing the music. There you can hear the top kicks, side chaining the bottom 808s. Just kept them at the same pitch the whole time, just a transient element. 808 stays tuned to the bass line. The kicks do not. They remain the same key, the same just pitch the whole time through. Added some snares, you know, the basic stuff, nothing too interesting. Hi-hats. Boring, basic. Could have chosen better hi-hat sounds here. You get a drum pattern that sounds like this with all of the elements added. Crash. Really basic. Yeah, I guess I should also mention that the kick has a P controller, sidechaining the parametric EQ on the 808. Both of those get fed into a kick bus that has a P controller that then sidechains the bass line, which was the next part that I put in. I got out the Roland S1. This is an alright little all-around synth if you don't really know what you're going to be making leads or basses or effects. The S1 is pretty alright. It's kind of like a more I don't know about versatile, but it's a smaller format micro freak or whatever. It's not that timbral, but it's very versatile and fairly easy to get to fit in the mix, and it has built-in effects on like the micro freak. Nice thing to just, you know, you bring that in your suitcase and compose some melodies and stuff on the bus. Yeah, alright. So here we have the bass line on the S1 that I then fed into the Monotron to create a lot of really messed up stuff. You hear that, right? That sounds pretty OTT. I'll just take this, move that here into no man's land, where we can really explore its body without the prying eyes of strangers. Modulating the delay and cutoff. Trying to make it go as crazy as I possibly could. Like trying to get some nice snippets of really bad sounding, you know, stuff I could probably sample later and make into dubstep bass lines, but that's a story for a different day. I'll show you it's just doing the same thing as the 808 is, basically, but I'll show you the MIDI outs for it. It just goes down, then it goes up. Yeah, I can see I already messed up here. Did not transpose the bass down. So I'm just gonna have to re-record that. 1 second. That's one of the benefits of the S1 is that it's super easy to save and retrieve patches. I guess we can just do that together right now. Dang it! Why did I mess this shit up? I guess because I was working in one day trying to record. So you can see here, the mistake I made was I just kept it in the same key. Which is not, you know, it works. But I'm gonna re-record this later half. This. Bring it back down to here, and I'll just re-record everything. Alright, I'm back. Now the bass line has been fixed as far as I know. Everything is kind of back to where it's supposed to be. Alright, the next thing that I did, I started trying to write some kind of lead melody. This is what I came up with. The pianos are going to be riding on top of the roads here. I took those notes, fed it into the Behringer JT4000. The JT4K micro. Running that through the Monotron again, you get a lot of like analog grit distortion. Sounds great. Recorded one layer of that. Then I took that layer and recorded the same layer again. So I overdubbed it. The reason why I'm doing that is because there's so many little kind of unforeseen variables or glitches as you're manipulating the cutoff and stuff. Even just letting it play, there's so many little differences in how the signal gets processed. So when you overdub that, you go from something like the initial lead here sounds you're hearing now is the lead being fed into the delay bus, the DLY weird here. It creates a lot of the delay, free VST, really powerful, very easy to create stuff that starts to become dissonant, fucks up like a mix. But if you use it sparingly and on certain elements, it can create these great harmonic build-ups and stuff. If you're doing any kind of like sound design, scoring movies, or creating little pieces of effects and stuff like that, it's amazing. Really comes very highly recommended. Then we go from the initial lead here to the overdub, which is going to be louder, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to let this delay ride out and then I'll play it for you. You can hear how it's like the two recordings don't sound identical, so it creates a lot of dynamics in the sound, in my opinion. And then, you know, like I said, I took the Rhodes from the soft synth, the Analog V. I don't even know if it's really a soft synth. I guess it's just a sample-based kind of rompler or something. Ran that, exported it as a WAV file, because I can't record my DAW. Otherwise, I'd be, you know, running a lot of stuff through the Monotron, like soft synths and stuff. Probably also have a few guitar pedals, things like that, like Big Sky and Crayon stuff. I really like those, but not really compatible with my setup. Recorded the Rhodes. Give you a taste of that. So before I play this, keep in mind I was going intentionally for something inspired by Boards of Canada. If you check out my 2 previous beatmaking videos, I'm kind of leaning into that. It's the Paul Desmond and Long Lankin videos I did. Kind of started conceiving of a project where I'm just going to compile all these things into 10, 20 little... Well, this ended up being kind of long, but vintage sounding, kind of like 70s throwback sounding stuff. Like, it sounds slightly futuristic, but also sounds like, you know, the past. Like old synthy, pling plong guitar, stuff like that. So yeah, keep in mind that I was going for a very lo-fi aesthetic. Whether I achieved that or not, it's not really for me to say. But it started getting disconcerting as I was recording these layers. You can see here how many layers of the bass line and lead and stuff I was chopping up. Starting getting very unruly. And that's being fed into a EQ taking off the tops. Like, just insane amounts of noise on that thing. Tried it with a pitch shifter. Not nice. Not good. Probably take it a full octave down. Still just messing up the mix. Not good. The lead, however, has a pitch shifter set to like 30%, 25%, taking it down to full octave, trying to get as much noise on that as possible. But yeah, it's a 2 vinyl VST here. Still a bit insecure about how this sits in the mix, but I prefer it to how it sounds just coming straight out of the VST. So as I was running the Monotron, the computer sound into the Monotron, I sampled some other stuff here. This.
Quite preparing for the chewing.
We can be in and out of there in an hour. In fact, we can be back in time for happy hour. Love those banana daiquiris.
Space Ninja is built around naive young pilot.
From a YouTube video I was watching on the channel Bad Movie Bible, if you have any interest in schlock, camp stuff, you like Best of the Worst, check out that channel. It is really good content. One of the few things I can stand watching without wanting to nuke humanity. Alright, so with all of those elements lined up, it was time to get to chopping things. So, you know, I had the intro lined up. So a lot of grit on that. Once it came time to actually, you know, let the beat drop. Just way too much stuff going on. Just way too much plinky plonky melodies. So I decided to start treating it like an actual sample and chopping it. Letting the delay do a lot of the talking, and then letting the drums and bass set an atmosphere and create a mood. Just using little snippets here. Which is even more prominent on this part where I just start chopping little, like parts of the releases of the notes. So there's no actual hits, but just the release, like the feedback. Kind of almost sounds like hits, right? I feel like that creates a lot more, there's a lot more interesting, more louder. Yeah, it's, I like that a lot more than just letting the sample ride like a full loop. Which I do here, just, you know, because it kind of feel a bit, I don't know, I composed the whole melody, why not at least use it for a certain part? But at that point, I let the bass line just drop out completely. Otherwise, there's just way too much stuff going on. It starts feeling really cramped, very OTT, feels like I'm trying too hard to just have as many melodic elements going as possible. When I'm running things into the Monotron, one of the biggest problems for me is that it starts subtly detuning things. The more stuff I start to stack that's been recorded on the Monotron, the more I start building a noise floor. And specifically, I start to get a noise floor on the subs, which can be intensely unpleasant to listen to. It just makes the whole, like, soundscape or whatever, it makes the whole mix sound way too busy. Like I said, I was running the JT4K micro into the Monotron, doing some little, like a lot, not as some little, like a lot of variations here. So here you have one of the no overdubbing, just playing the lead straight up, and then manipulating the feedback and time on the delay unit. Very noise. Much louder. Just so I could create a tail at the end here. That's not very pleasant, is it? It's a lot of, that's a lot of noise. But when we take that and we isolate that sample and reverse it, we get this.
We can be in and out of there in an hour. In fact, we can be back in time for happy hour. Love those banana daggers.
Which, in my opinion, sounds a lot better. I said that's starting to sound like something. That's starting to structure things a little bit. So at the point where I done that, that was basically the track made. It's going from what would it be, like 32 bars or something? 32 bars into 16 bars as a chorus, going into 32 bars for the last chorus. And that was basically the song done. Now I just had to structure that out and add more elements to flesh it out. Like just having it the way it was. Cool, but not really cool enough. So I added, to flesh out the lead part, the chorus part, I added another analog lab, just running through different presets, I guess. I mean, what else is there in there? Running through different sounds, and came up with a little ARP. Didn't like it, didn't end up really putting it in the track initially, but this is what it sounded like. Then I added a flex, just, again, ran through different sounds, ended up with this. Which fit the lead a lot better than having the Rhodes keys running under it. Again, really bassy, and sounded a lot better than the ARP. Then, kind of on accident, enabled the ARP track. They played pretty nice together. You can barely hear the ARP, but it's like off to the sides there, being auto-panned by a flanger. To add a little bit more weight to the ARP, I recreated it on the S1, which sounds like this. It just basically recreated the square wave thing, added some chorus and a little bit of pink noise. Kind of towing the line of it being way too bassy, but let's see if I'm able to temper those elements when I get down to mixing this. Yeah, you can see there's a ton. I got an Edison in there because I was going to recreate that, but you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Stereo shaper, pitch shifter, taking it an octave down, set to about 34%, I guess. A distortion unit running into a flanger, running into the vintage chorus. Not sure if this is the Juno number 1 and 2 chorus set together preset. I think that's what it is. And then EQ, and then at the end of that, more stereo enhancer to offset it. These are elements that I might change later as I'm mixing it. I just needed it to be really unwieldy and sound very raw in order to match the rest of what I'd recorded. So now, with most of it structured, what I really had to do was, you know, like add snare rolls, add little like changes to the hi-hats. There's minimum Added some open hi-hats, some crashes. The most important switch-ups are in the 808s and the snares. You know, stuff like that. And at that point, the song is basically finished. Then it's just tweaking things. So, adding some white noise hits that I made a few years ago. I always like using white noise to kind of beef up hits and kind of structure drops and things like that. Took the S1 out, added some risers with the S1's riser functionality. Kind of running consistently throughout the song. Really like that. The S1 risers, I'm probably gonna be using that way more than I should. It's just so much fun. You just turn that little knob and it just adds so much color. Some breath sounds. That's just me recording myself sighing. Get that crossfade that don't pop. Like that. I might have to take down some lows on that. And then kind of, I guess once that was done, the cherry on top was just sampling a nature documentary, a VHS rip of a nature documentary. Again, running that into the Monotron to get stuff like this.
It changed forever the way man viewed his own position in the natural world.
Just having that running kind of throughout the whole track, paired with the happy hour sample. And to finish it off, put some of the more messed up Monotron tweaks and stuff on the Rhodes and the bass line as an outro, which you'll hear now. Pretty hardcore, pretty discordant. For the final kind of chorus or the peak of the song, I added a few chops of the Rhodes in here. Just add even more like sonic elements to that final big burst of energy. And yeah, that's it. Now I'm gonna mix the track and I'll play it for you, and yeah, I hope you like it. I hope this was in somehow illuminating, or at least fuel some kind of like creativity. Even if it's like, this guy sucks, I could do way better. I love that. Like, you should go out there and fill the world with music, and, you know, try to make your music a conversation with people. Try to actually contribute with your craft, even if it's just a hobby. You shouldn't be ashamed of what you're doing. You should totally, like, the more people are putting out music, the better. I know that people want to think that the more music is out there, the more it's just polluting the world, especially now with the internet. But I don't think so. I think the more people are creating things that are beautiful, and more than anything, enjoying their lives and dedicating time and energy to things that they're passionate about, instead of, doom scrolling on social media and all that nonsense, caring about who's hot and who's not and all. Don't do that. Like, express yourself, go out into the nature, like, read books, like, engage with people talking, not just for likes and engagement, but to, I know, I understand the hypocrisy here, I'm on YouTube, but, you know, like, be a part of the world with human beings. It's okay. Like, people might not always be perfect. They might do and say and behave in ways that are hurtful, but I think that's a lot better than just locking yourself off and not talking. I think music should enhance your own life, and hopefully if you do a good job at it, it will enhance other people's lives. It's one of the most powerful things in the world. Stories and music has a tendency to take us out of the pain we're feeling, if it's physical or mental. I know that, like, just lying here in the bed with sciatica, like, the only thing that I'm really enjoying is not video games, it's not YouTube documentaries about rappers or social media personalities that do awful things or whatever. I don't care about David Dobrik. I would way rather read a book or watch a movie or listen to music. Do stuff that, like, you know, releases endorphins, makes me happy, makes me want to move my body and work out, even when I'm in pain. Sorry for being so pretentious and doing this, like, weird thing, but yeah, I really, really hope that more people make music and engage with music and express themselves. I think it's a really cool thing, and yeah, it can be difficult. It can be really shitty when you're putting a lot of hard work into something and you feel like other people should take notice, but that's not really what's important. Once you're in, like, you're in the zone, it clicks. I think that's a religious experience. That's like touching God. I'm gonna mix this song and I'll be back with you. Alright, that's pretty much it for today. The mix is still a bit rough, but it will be out in some form as a project on my Bandcamp and Patreon when I'm done doing these videos and making these songs that will comprise the full project. I'll probably get it mastered, and if I like it a lot, if it gets a particularly strong response, I'll probably put it out on physical. Thank you so much for watching. So yeah, that's the end of the video. I hope you liked it. And please like and subscribe and share and comment and do everything. And also, have a nice day. Sincerely, have a nice day. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you actually watched this, hope it was interesting or in some way inspired you to be creative. Because that's what it's all about. So, have a nice day. It's really easy. I could do it without hearing the music, but it kind of requires having an ear for basic harmony. So there is really no cheat sheet, but starting off as a teenager, I basically kind of clued into a cheat sheet. That's how I started making music. So I'll show you really basically. Really basically. So I'll just show you like the basic outline of how I approach it. Usually start with a D. And you see already it's just like there. It's a minor. Moving it up to a major. Like that. So the spaces in between, you have a 2 and you have a 3. As the basis of any regular chord. There's tons of more complicated chords. There's ways you can build on top of this. Like that. Don't really like that, but if I transpose this up to here, should sound alright. Told you so. So it is that simple. So if you're just starting off, you get creative with that. It's very simple. Basically, you're establishing... You have a scale, right? And you're working off a scale. You can do that basically by doing the same thing. So if I create a minor note here, I can move that down 2 spaces, same as this. And it should create a progression that sounds natural. No, not great, not the worst. I want to get real cool with it, I'd maybe do something like this. And then move it down to the minor. Like that. You know, super basic. You might want to take those chords and like space them out, add more polyphony to it. But is that easy? Is that quick?